Klassen joins us now with sports, and we're talking Canucks today. Yes?
Yeah, a little bit of Canucks.
Like
NHL teams opening up training camp today, so definitely we'll go down to Vancouver to look at that. We're featuring a local boxer that's going for a Canadian championship on Friday. That's pretty exciting.
Okay.
As well, we'll catch up with the newest Kamloops Blazer. That's coming up in sports. It's just 2 days before local fighter Ken Huber goes for the title of WBC Amateur Canadian Champion. The 29-year-old is riding a lot of momentum going into the fight, coming off his Western Canadian Championship in June. A remarkable feat for someone who's only been in the ring for 5 years. And in that short time, he's already at the top of his game. Ken Huber is getting ready for the fight of his life. The Western Canadian champ steps into the ring Friday at the Langley Events Center against Eastern champion Rene Placid from Ontario.
I am just on top of the world right now. I've had a solid training camp. My coach is awesome. He's solid. I couldn't ask for anything more. I'm really looking forward to this. You know, look, when I got into boxing, I never pictured myself even being a Western Canadian champion, never mind a Canadian champion. Here's my opportunity. I want this. I'm going to work hard for it.
Boxing has quickly become the focus of Huber's life. The 100-mile native works and trains out of the Kamloops Boxing Academy. But it hasn't always been that way. Huber actually stumbled into the boxing ring by chance.
I entered a tough man competition, 2 one-minute rounds, got dropped in the second round and lost the fight, and something inside of me just said I'm better than that. I can achieve this, I can do this. So I went to a local boxing club and started training. About a year later, I had my first fight, lost my first fight. I was still kind of discouraged, but I knew I wanted more.
From there, Huber worked on his craft every day, and the more he fought, the more he wanted to see out his potential in the sport. 5 years later, he's the talk of Canadian amateur boxing, favored to win the fight on Friday.
I've got a bit of a wild side. You know, I'm a little bit crazy. You got to be a little bit crazy to get in the ring and go toe-to-toe with somebody who's trained to hurt you. But I just have a desire for it. I have a passion for it. I love the science behind boxing. I love the feeling at the end of the workout, at the end of the gym, you know, at the end of the day, you get out of that ring, you're shaking everybody's hands. There's a brotherhood.
Nationally, Canadian boxing's been slipping for the past 2 decades. A lack of funding during that time, and most recently the rise of MMA. But Huber says he's seen changes in the boxing culture locally since he started. 5 years ago, he says finding an opponent to fight was a challenge, but now there's no troubles.
The shows are incredible, the crowds are awesome, and there's unlimited opponents. I could box every month if I wanted to. I think boxing is having a serious resurgence. MMA is kind of peaked and it's tapering down, and I think boxing is coming back.
One of Ken's mentors from 100 Mile House, Kelly Ricketts, says Ken has all the tools you need to be a great boxer.
You know, some of the key ingredients that you need is the right attitude. Certainly some God-given gifts. That certainly helps in the sport. But as I'm sure Ken would say, and most guys that I've met over the years, it's just plain hard work. I mean, you have to put the time in. You have to be dedicated to it, and you have to be willing to take the shots and not back down.
If Huber does win the Canadian Championship, he'd move on to the North American title bout, then potentially onto the Worlds.
I'm fighting for a national title? Like, is this... I'm a small-town kid. I was a redneck. I wasn't supposed to be achieving what I've achieved, and it's exciting. I couldn't be happier.
The newest member of the Kamloops Blazer, goaltender Bolton Pouliot, has arrived in Kamloops and is practicing with his new teammates in preparation for the team's final preseason game Saturday in Prince George. The 19-year-old Pouliot was picked up by the Blazers on Monday in a trade with the Red Deer Rebels. With 40 total games of Western Hockey League experience, Pouliot's been brought into the fold, expected to push current starter Taron Kozun for playing time during the season. During the summer, Pouliot and Rebels GM Brent Sutter had been working together on a deal to get him out of Red Deer, and Pouliot couldn't be happier to land in Kamloops.
I'm here to push. I'm here to compete with, have a healthy competition with Taron. He's a great guy. I've talked to him. I sit beside him in the dressing room. It's been awesome since I've been here. So it's going to be good. We'll have a healthy competition, and we'll help this team win some hockey games.
You know, Bolton comes in a very similar situation to what Taron's been in. He's played 40 games in the Western Hockey League. He's been waiting for an opportunity to be a starter, and what we've created now is a real good competition at that goalie position. And between those two guys, are both good goaltenders. It's a matter of now who can battle and win that ultimate starting job.
The move to Kamloops is extra sweet for Pouliot, given he played with Aspen Sturzer and Bantam in Calgary, but he has another special connection with Sturzer.
Well, I'm engaged to his sister, so yeah, we've been together for about 6 years now, and so he's my brother-in-law. So me and him, we're really close, and so we're really excited to get this opportunity to play with each other again.
It's the opening day of training camp for 30 teams around the National Hockey League. Down in Vancouver, all the eyes are on Bobby Lou, once thought to be leaving town. Roberto Luongo is now back as the #1 guy, and everyone's wondering how he's going to bounce back after the surprising trade of Corey Schneider in June.
After what's happened over 2 years, it's a process, and it's kind of got to feel it out and see how it goes. I mean, I'm not saying I'm unhappy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just... Right now, I just want to be playing, and then we'll see how things go. I mean, it's tough to do a complete 180 turn on something like this, but, I am excited to be around the guys, and I want to play, and I want to win hockey games for the Vancouver Canucks right now. So I think at the end of the day, that's all that matters, and who knows what the future holds. I mean, I can't predict it. Obviously, the last couple of years, things that have happened are things that I never would have thought of.
The spotlight will also be on new fiery head coach John Tortorella, who has the task of turning around a team that failed to win a single playoff game last spring. A bigger challenge, given that he inherits pretty well the same squad that was swept by the San Jose Sharks in the spring.
Everybody wants offense. Everybody wants those pretty goals. Everybody thinks these new rules are going to bring in these pretty goals, and we all see what happens. And you still need to have some bite and grind in your game, and that's where I'd like to see it a little bit more consistent, and that's where I think we'll get to a different level. So I don't want to get into predicting and all that, but a complete game is something I think all coaches are looking for.
He's going to push us harder. He's going to give us the honest truth, and maybe at times we do need that more. We do need to know when we're not giving it our all, when there's more in the tank, when we're not executing, when we're not quite focused, and hopefully we can build that in the room and eventually start being able to self-sustain our room.
It's something I look forward to, someone to push me a bit and maybe bring the best out of me, make me a little more emotional on the ice, and as I said, I'm looking forward to the challenge, and everyone's looking forward to training camp. Yeah.
A pair of TRU Wolfpack soccer players are being honored for their standout performances this last weekend. And really no surprises here, with Wolfpack men's forward Oriol Torres earning Pac West Player of the Week honors after his 4-goal and 1-assist effort over the weekend, as the men start their season 2-0 and now ranked 5th nationally.
He's on fire right now, so if he can keep that going, that'd be awesome. And they've all been nice goals, so we need that kind of offense from Oriol. He had a great summer in Pacific Coast League, and he's carrying that through now.
The women remain in 4th spot in the national rankings, largely thanks to Alana Beckering, who is the Player of the Week on the women's side, scoring 2 goals and adding 2 assists to help the women take a pair of victories over Capilano and Vancouver Island.
What a great player. I mean, she's going to be sorely missed at the end of this year, but she's done such a super job for us. But she had teammates all around her as well that were doing great for her, too.
Wolfpack soccer teams now hit the road for 3 weeks before returning to Hillside Stadium October 5th against UBC Okanagan. Staying on the pitch, we already know 10 of the countries that will be competing in Brazil for next summer's World Cup, but there's still lots to be decided in the next 2 months, as 50 countries still in contention battle for the 22 remaining spots. Last night, Mexico and U.S. early in the second half. The Americans have a quarter. Eddie Johnson gets the header on it, puts it into the net, 1-0. Then, in the 77th minute, the U.S. seal it when the cross makes it across the goal line to Landon Donovan. The Americans win it 2-0. They're in the World Cup.
2-0, USA over Mexico. Brazil beckons. Dos a 0 yet again.
If you have a comment or story idea for sports, contact us at sports@CFJC-TV.com. I can be followed on Twitter @ClassN87, and you can get sports on demand at CFJC-TV.com.
CNN.
You're my wife?
New York.
So hilarious. That's awesome.
So cute.
It is so cute.
It's like falling in love for the first time all
over again. And they've been married for 6 years. I agree with those women co-hosts that you saw in the story. Yeah. Every man should be on that, whatever he was on. Oh, you know what? I was wondering how I guess she just decided to record it, but I wonder if that's happened before and she knew it was going to happen again.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just because
Maybe.
she knew
like
he
with
would.
kids and dogs or
she
whatever,
knew he would act weird like that, so she's like, I'm going to record this one.
She's just gonna have to make sure that she's the one waking up next to Jeanette every time, right?
Awkward. Could get awkward. That's our time for tonight. I'll be back again at 6:30. See you then.
Good night.
Good night.